Good morning, everyone. Good morning from Florianopolis, Brazil. After a Sunday where we don't work, I only do the group call with the case study groups. Here we're back, and we're ready to do another Facebook Live.
What are we talking about today, Hans?
We're talking about, just before the call, we're talking about allyship and friendship.
To be an ally. The way of the ally.
The way of the ally. So how is it different? It's a very strong concept in your work. So how is it different from being a friend?
Yeah. So there's like, I guess maybe people have different ideas about it, but you have friends, I guess you could say, are just they're your hangout buddies. Maybe they're not really there when you need them, right? They're your fair weather friends, perhaps. And then there's your good friends. Like, they're going to be there for you through the hard times. But then there's a whole other level, and it's what I would call ally. And it's maybe to the level, it's even beyond, I think, what most people have as a brother or as a father relationship. Like to really stand for another, for their highest good, for them becoming the strongest version of themselves. And it's
that's the key.
There's very much an art and a science behind it. And so there's a lot of ways that you might signal to me to back off, right? Like, that's personal, that's none of your business, right? Like for example, if I give you feedback on an area of your life about how you're playing small compared to who I know that you desire to be or can be, if it's too uncomfortable, you're likely to give me a signal to just back off in some way or another. And it could be ugly, right? Fuck you. That's none of your business.
Or I beat you up like I beat you up so often.
Right. But imagine Dan Pena, right? Being in your face about, like, he knows how fucking great you can be, and he's fucking calling bullshit on your stuff that you accept about yourself, that you've come to accept about yourself, or about life that's far less than who you could be. And so it's intense. It can be quite intense to have that kind of ally relationship. And it's not comfortable.
But because you go in there as if it's clear, but I want to, so what you're saying is the key element is to hold the other to their greatness.
Imagine,
is what I heard.
Imagine that you have a business partnership, and you're committed to, I don't know, taking over the world or whatever, but you've got a lot on the line, and there's people's paychecks on the line, and maybe you have a world-changing mission, and you're in a boardroom meeting with these high-level executives, and like no level of excuse is acceptable. Why didn't you meet the quota for this month? Like, what happened? You dropped the ball. Like, they might bring an intense level of challenge, of criticism, of accountability.
And that's allyship?
What I'm saying is, imagine you had that for your personal, who you want to be. Here's the company is like who you want to be is maybe the alliance, and the profits are what you're aiming at. The goals of the company are you becoming the greatest possible version of yourself that you can be, and actualizing the greatest vision that you have that's possible for your life. And so an ally is, if you one day are behaving at a level below that, or you're telling lies to yourself to allow yourself to get away with bullshit, as your ally, I'm going to call you out on that. I'm going to have you raise the bar on that. And that's not, so the challenge, it would be, maybe you don't want to hear anything from me right now, and you let me know it, maybe in some kind of reactive way. And then I feel like, okay, Like I might not be his friend if I keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not your friend. I'm your ally.
Right.
Right. I'm standing for this. I'm not trying to be friends with the guy down here. I'm not trying to have you like me, for example. I want to be standing for your greatness.
So when you say standing for your greatness, are you also taking in consideration ways of bringing it to that person so they would take it on board?
Yes.
Okay. So if you bring it and the person goes back off, you know, you could say, well, I'm your ally and you keep pushing. Or you could say, I'm your ally and I'm looking for a better way to bring it to you.
Yes. Basically, as an ally, there's no excuse to stop standing for the other guy. There's no excuse. He tells you to fuck off, whatever. And you feel hurt. You feel judged. You feel like he doesn't want it. But it's your job to remember who he is.
Mm-hmm.
When in the moments when he was most awake, he knows what he wants to be.
Right.
Right? It's to not be loyal to the version of himself that has forgotten who he is. Mm-hmm. You're not loyal to that guy. You're loyal to who he is when he's most awake. And most of us, we don't have... It's hard to be our own ally.
Right.
A lot of the time. Because we don't want to remember who we are at our most powerful. Because it's challenging.
Do you need an invite to show up in someone's life as an ally, or do you show up as an ally until that person disappears, so to speak?
Well, I mean, we all have to make choices with our time as well, right? I mean, you can't be in 7-8 billion people's lives being their ally, you know, all at the same time at the highest level. You know, so so you do have to make choices, like where am I going to invest my time and with which people at what level, so on and so forth. So, but for me, I started the ally practice with my brothers in 97. And I was having all these ideas for, you know, the challenges when teenagers, and I was thinking of guys at this point in time, they're having these conflicts with external authority. And then out of negotiating these conflicts, they can end up concluding something less than about themselves, mm-hmm. or about what's possible in life, or about their own power, their own authority. And I had this vision. I was going to take off in my van, and I was going to speak especially to the young guys who they don't like school. They want to be entrepreneurs, or they want to be in their own power. They want to create their own thing. And I had this whole vision, and I actually left town. Now, my brothers most of the year, they were working for me in my landscaping business. But this was winter. This is when I'm not working that much, so you know how I am. My visions are going, take off.
Don't recognize it at all.
So, actually, I actually painted my van like black, you know, like the A-Team van, you know. And I had a gun, I had a desk in there, I could unroll my sleeping bag. I was just going to travel the country and fucking rally guys up. And I got outside of town a ways, and I realized, wait a second, I'm leaving my three brothers behind, you know. And it was like they had never, I don't know that they had expressed an interest in being entrepreneurs, and they were, you know, at the time they were just, you know, smoking weed, playing Nintendo, goofing off. Like it didn't occur to me that they were the guys that I was going to go speak to. But then I was like, what the fuck, you know? And I said, well, I'm going to show them the vision of who they can be and what's possible if they have complete ownership of their life, if they become entrepreneurs. And so I went back for my brothers, and I sold them on this vision, you know, all three of them, and it was intense, and I had them, I said, I'm going to take my business, I'm split into three, and I'm going to boot camp them for as long as it takes, so that they get to experience what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I was convinced that once they experience it, having that level of power over their life, and not responsibility like a burden without joy, but like it's an incredible feeling to have the complete creative control of your life, your income, what you're doing, your future. And so then as I did that, and there was resistance on the part of them, or limitations or whatever, and like I feel like backing down, I was inventing technology, so to speak, to overcome it. Like there was no excuse for my brothers not being the greatest that they can be, or me being the greatest I can be, and being the greatest I can be for them. So that's where the ally concepts came from.
Were you staying in the home, or where was this?
No, I was in Austin, and I lived up on West Campus. They lived down southeast off Riverside. I don't know how familiar we are with Austin. Yes. But it was intense. They would show up before the sunrise in my office, and if they were late, there was consequences, and they had an intense accountability for all their morning rituals and commitments, to intense reporting on their business throughout the day and the things they were doing to make money. And
how did the convincing go? Like when you came back with your van, you drove back where they are, what happened there? You sit them down? Did you?
Yeah, I don't remember all the details, but I remember that I also wrote them. I don't think we were even using email and things like this back then. So I had handwritten, whatever. I'm convincing them of what's possible for them, and I don't remember all the details, but man, it was intense. We had intense Sunday meetings. We had Saturday nights where we would celebrate the fuck out of who we'd been for the week, and I would have them come back every morning into my back office one by one, and they would knock on the door. I would open the door as if I'm a stranger, and I'm looking for any sign. I'm like, who the fuck are you? Basically, my attitude, and I'm looking for any sign of weakness or doubt, self-doubt in them, and having them tell me who they are powerfully, and training them on this. We did things like things just like holding your head up. Like, it's uncomfortable. If you hold your head too high and walk down the street, other dudes are like, who the fuck is that guy? It's kind of uncomfortable to do it, but on every level we were looking for the level up, and it was so exciting, man, because we came up with all kinds of different ways of calling each other out. And we had this networking voicemail technology that at the time was developed to use in network marketing companies. But we used it with each other, and we would speak like the phone was a microphone. And when we had a win in our business, we would get on there and be like, just fucking celebrating, and just total celebration. And there's no question that all your brothers they're fucking cheering you on, so there's no hesitation to do that. And also on these, some of the types of messages you might hear was a real fucking call out. Another brother seeing you not playing at your highest level, calling you to fucking rise up, And then you could reply to the messages with another powerful message. But everything was about power. It was about up-leveling your power. So you get on this fucking phone in the morning, it's like, fuck yeah. There's victories. There's fucking a guy saying, fuck, I'm so fucking scared to do this, but here I go, And it's just, and then you're cheering them on, and then you're getting called out, and you're calling them out, and you know, and we had this practice of turning a call out or a criticism into an upgrade in your life or your system. It's so exciting, man, when you can give a guy, a brother, powerful feedback that most guys are not going to want to hear and would even get upset about you calling them out on. And then in your presence, you listen to them verbally, reflect on what you're saying, try to see the upgrade, find the upgrade and how that's going to impact their life and their vision, and then they fucking commit to the upgrade. It's so powerful, man. And then and it's empowering. So it's like having a powerful board of directors who are they're on your team, calling you to rise up to the next level. So there's such an energy around it, and it's so uncommon for anyone to have this in their life, I think, but especially for like young guys to have something like this. Normally what you have is guys, buddies, who you all just have fun accepting each other at whatever level that you're at. You know, maybe all giving up on your dream and just hanging out and talking shit about the other people and talking shit about the guys who are really going for it, and you know, just making it really comfortable to kind of stay where you are.
Right.
Yeah.
So what happened with your brothers?
Yeah, so after about how long was it? 4 or 5 months, they were like, Mike, we got this. We don't need you anymore. And to this day, I mean, that was the few months. They went from being minimum wage employees working for their older brother to powerful men. I mean, they shifted from boys to men like that, and they experienced the high of being entrepreneurs like that. To this day, they're all entrepreneurs. They're all doing well, and yeah, it was difficult for me to accept, because I had these visions of how far it can go, how big it can get, what we can do together, and but at every level, the practice is to come back to, you know, at the moment that I start feeling like maybe I'm hurt because they've given up on the vision, or they've stopped believing, or whatever, and I can want to say, okay, well, this is who they are, right? I form some kind of conclusion about them that makes them less than who they are, or about myself. Like, I can't accept any of that. Like, that's... So I took on being an ally for humanity, and bringing this... I ended up creating events where people gave me their permission and agreement for me to stand for them as an ally at that level. This is my I Stand events. And yeah, so. But man, I got such a powerful taste of what it could be like to be an ally and to have allies in that year, that it's like, fuck, man, I got how humanity could transform by having that.
How does being an ally change you?
That's a great question. It's like accepting total ownership, total responsibility. You know, for everything. There's no excuse to not learn and grow from a situation. There's no excuse to judge someone and cast someone aside. So I think many of us, well, myself included, you make yourself vulnerable, and you try to really stand for someone that you love. Could be a wife, a brother, a friend, a business partner, and then you get hurt somehow, and you feel like, man, and you're judged, and you feel hurt, and at some point, and you try to make it work, and then in the end, you settle for a conclusion that, oh, the original vision I had of them and the dream that we had together as brothers, as business partners, as romantic partners, they're not that person I saw. They're this son of a bitch. And we cast them out of our life. For me, there's no excuse for that.
But I'm trying to see where the responsibility begins, ends, you know, because I'm assuming you're not taking, say, responsibility for their happiness, for example, or you're not taking responsibility for them being committed. You understand what I mean? There's limits to the responsibility that you take. You keep being responsible for them being great, or holding them to their greatness.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that you're going to do the work for them. It doesn't mean that...
Well, I'm definitely not going to do the work for them. And is that being their ally if I do the work for them, right? So
yes.
being someone's ally, it doesn't mean being nice, you know? It doesn't mean like letting them off the hook. Like when I say I'm an ally to humanity, there is one person I can think of right off the top of my head who, like if we met and he wanted to talk, like we would talk, and I would whatever, but like I would fucking give him a hell of a lot of shit before I, you know, like it doesn't mean not speaking truth that's going to hurt someone's feelings or whatever. It also doesn't mean not going on with your own life or your own projects or whatever. So maybe you can say something more.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand where if being an ally means holding the other to their greatness, what does that entail? You know, like yeah. Or like I said in the beginning, if you say something and you're calling a brother out or an ally out, and he says, whoa, back off, you know, like holding the other to their greatness could mean at that moment I'm saying it again, or holding the other to their greatness could mean I'm going to wait and then I'm going to bring this again in a better moment so it could be accepted. So, you know, it's not like I'm trying to understand what that responsibility is, and it's not solved by just saying, hey, I'm standing for that person's greatness, because a lot of harm could be inflicted in that name.
Well, let me say this. I don't, as someone who's committed to being an ally, I don't care so much about people being upset at me in the moment. You know, it's more the long term that I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And if I know I am for them, I actually feel a lot more free to upset them. Mm-hmm. So it's can be like that tough love.
That's great.
Kind of a thing.
Because I was thinking of it yesterday with women. Guys are thinking of how they can show up powerfully in the life of their women, committed, and at the same time feel that they get to explore their sense of, say, adventure. You know, how can we be committed in a relationship and I can explore my sense of adventure, for example, in the land of women? And
be more clear about what you mean by that.
If I, like, guys say, oh, I'm with this girl and I want to be committed. I want to be committed to this girl, but I don't want to be in a traditional relationship with her. I don't want to be the boyfriend, or I don't want to get married necessarily. I want to explore my love for women. I want to explore my sense of adventure. I want to travel. I want to be alone. And I still want to be very committed, just not in a traditional way. And then, and for me, showing up in a woman's life as an ally is a great way to do both, because you say, I am here for you, and you are there for her.
Yeah.
You know, I show up powerfully. I'm very committed to you and your greatness.
Yeah.
I am here for you. If you need me, I got your back. But also, if you give bullshit, I'm gonna call you out. I will
Yes.
not tolerate.
Yes.
I will not tolerate you yapping about nothing.
Yes.
And I will not tolerate you crossing my border. I will
Yes.
not tolerate you stepping on me and having me become someone else that I'm not. And so, as showing up as an ally, it gives you both an incredible responsibility, because now you're taking care of this woman forever. You show up powerfully, and it gives you an incredible freedom, because you are no longer in the business of, I'm trying not to upset her.
Right.
I'm trying to have peace here.
That's the
No.
business that most guys are in relationship, is trying to keep things comfortable.
Yes.
Right. Or not have her not be upset with you.
But allyship is
And let me just add this, that it's not just about calling her out on her behavior. It's calling yourself out on your
Yes.
behavior. So if my standard is to be an ally and I realize the way I was not, I confess that to her and I recommit to being how I want to be. If she calls me out and it's true, you're right, here's how I was being and I'm committed to being here, I say, yes, you're right, and I commit to be here.
right.
And it's so powerful.
It's
So
just,
powerful.
I'm thinking of guys like Alex, for example, and they want to show up powerfully in the lives of their women. They want to show up committed, you know, and they want to explore my love for women, my sense of adventure, and men are struggling with that and try to find some kind of like middle ground, and it's so dangerous to compromise there. Whereas the ally is something so extreme and powerful that you could do both. Not only, you know, show up extremely powerful, and I'm an ally to the women in my life, and it's way more powerful than the boyfriend. It's way more powerful than the friend. It's way more powerful than the husband in many ways. And it gives me also the liberty to be true to myself, to what I want,
Yeah.
explore my love for women, my sense of adventure, and not only have it tolerated by her, but her loving me for it.
Yes.
So it's
In a traditional relationship, what's more important than honesty and mutual personal growth is not having feelings for or acting on those feelings with another person.
Mhm.
And in the name of that, there will be a lot of dishonesty
Yes.
and cheating and growing apart.
Yes.
And
Or breaking up. You know.
yes, and this is you know, in my past, there's been times when a certain woman will have like a lot of feelings for me, and she'll really want to be in a committed relationship or explore a committed relationship, and but I have a sense that, or I can see in her behavior, that the moment that she's upset, then it's over.
Mhm.
And from her past history or whatever, like, I'm just some asshole in the past, you know, and that's not an adventure I want to go on. Like, that's not who I want to be. I don't want to just be another
Right.
guy that she had a great time with and then just cast aside. I'd rather be the ally.
Yes.
And so for me, it's a foundation. It's a starting point.
I'm
is
just
being
I'm
allies.
talking to the neos out there. I was tempted to go again.
And
We know you're out there, Neo. I'm talking for you're closing your eyes, but I see you're rolling them on the inside.
yes,
But imagine a
get your
guy.
big nose out of people's face, man. It's too early in the morning for that.
Imagine for guys who struggle with this and say, like, I don't want to break her heart. You know, I want to show up powerfully. I want to be there for her, but I don't want to ignore myself either. You know, I don't want to deny myself, and then try to find some kind of like half-assed solution in that, giving in. But the allyship can give you both to the extreme.
Yes.
Extreme commitment to this woman in a
Yes.
way that she sees a man showing up in her life that she has never seen before.
It's disgusting to me.
Wait. I'm not done. I see your thoughts are going. And at the same time, You know, you get everything you want, and you honoring yourself, and you're not just tolerated, but loved for it. You know. So to me, it's an incredibly powerful way for a man who wants this, who wants commitment, who wants adventure, to show up not as a boyfriend, not as a whatever, but as an ally, and really lead that relationship. Starting with that, this is how I'm going to show up. You know, and you don't have to do anything, but this is how I will show up.
Yes.
It's a great solution.
Yeah, and it's not about do we feel love for each other. To me, that's not what it's about. And a lot of people, and I'll say a lot of women, will navigate a relationship based on, do I still feel love?
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't, maybe it's over. You know, to me, love.
It's a very sentimental.
Love is not a feeling as much as it's an action.
Yes.
It's about who am I, and that's more about honor. So to me, honor is certainly more important than love as a feeling. Mm-hmm. Is that. So it's about who am I for the other and for myself. Mm-hmm. So let me add this also to the context of being an ally. It in no way means not being an ally to myself. It also must include being an ally to myself. Mm-hmm. I can't be great for you if I'm not great for me, right? So there's no version of being an ally, in my view, that involves me compromising myself. Mm-hmm. So, and instead of thinking of a relationship and managing a relationship, think about becoming a stronger and stronger ally. And you can think of the alliance like, you know, like you and I have an alliance, you could say. But this is dangerous. This can make things more complicated unless you really understand that, like at no time, okay, because now something that can happen when people are, let's say you have a group of people who are like, we are allies and we're all standing for each other. People are much more vulnerable when they really let other people see what's really important to them and what their truth is, and see their weakness and call them out. This is a much more vulnerable place to be than most of us allow people into our lives in that way. And the alliance can really move to a high level really fast. You think of even any community or group, and it can fall apart, get destroyed really fast. You think of gossip, for example, as the ability to just destroy someone's character, or just create conflicts and judgments and everything else. It can happen much faster in people who are trying to do this great thing than in just people who are just friends. And so it's and we had a term for it, like the alliance upward spiral dynamic. Like if you're all committed to being allies, one person and you together can make it so great, so fast, and so powerful, but it can also completely fall away and become, explode very quickly. So there's a lot of things to understand, but remember after one of my early boot camps, and we were also using the voicemail technology. I was trying to use the network voicemail technology with these guys after the boot camp, and which I don't know if it even still exists anymore. But I remember one guy, something happened, and you're vulnerable, man. If you really share your heart and your vision, and then something happened where he didn't get the kind of interaction that he felt like an ally would give. And I remember he got on, and you're speaking it to everybody, and everybody, he's like, blah, 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 bullshit alliance, blah, and he's painting this whole story about how it's all bullshit, and then it's such a big thing, like if it's just you and me here, for example, that's one thing, but imagine there's a group of people. One person can really fucking infuse a whole narrative to just destroy shit at once.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more complicated, but
Yes.
but also it's a lot more. It can be a lot more powerful.
But yes,
have a group of people.
I can see the alliance. But what I like about the idea of being an ally is that it's something you do for yourself, the way
Yes.
you show up, and it doesn't really, like, not even talking about the alliance. You don't expect anything
Yes.
from the other.
Yes.
Like, you don't expect for your woman to show up as an ally to you. You just say, this is how I will show up for you.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be mutual. It's just you finding a place to stand and showing up powerfully
Yes.
in her life.
And there's, you still have, because you respect yourself, you still have standards and boundaries, that, if she's going to play at this higher level with you, she needs to respect those, but,
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of the guys, and I think it's such a powerful way out of the compromise that we do when we try to find a middle ground, so to speak, between I want to show up powerfully, I want to show up committed, I love this woman, I don't want to break her heart, and there's me who has these strong desires for adventure, for exploration, love for women, and I can't really combine them, and then so we find a middle ground, or like an average, it's the smallest common denominator, whereas the allyship really take it to the extreme of both extreme commitment, and extreme ownership of my own desires, and not just combine it and it's like, okay, it's tolerated, but women will go, what the fuck, this guy shows up in my life in a way no other man has ever showed up.
Yes.
And I love him for it.
yes.
That's the power of it.
Great honor and great adventure.
Great honor and great adventure.
Yes. It's a way to have it all.
Yes.
Rather than having a little bit of adventure and a little bit of
Yes.
honor.
I'm leading into a call for guys, but that's why I keep repeating it. If you're thinking of how to do that, how can you show up powerfully and have everything you want and be loved for it, then show up in a woman's life as an ally. I think it's a very powerful way to do that.
And it's very much a warrior path,
Yes.
a path of heart, a path of courage, a path
Yes.
to grow in skill and mastery. It's a challenging path. It is not an easy path at all.
And it's practice. Like last week, I talked with some women in my life, and I told them who they are for me and who I am for them, and the effect of that for me is incredible, because I'm showing up in their lives as an ally, and then the reaction I see from them is incredible. But it's an ongoing thing. It's a practice, and it's getting better and better, and you keep doing it, and it comes with a responsibility also. But it comes with great freedom as well. Honor and adventure, like you say. There you go. Did you already finish?
Nope. I was just checking on the time. It's 8:26. Time for our next ritual.
All right. See you guys tomorrow.